I never thought a single winter night could change everything I believed about life, success, and what truly matters. I was walking home alone, thinking only about numbers, deals, and empty silence waiting at my apartment, when a small voice broke through the cold air and stopped my world completely. My name is Adrian Cole, and I am a 38-year-old CEO of a supply chain technology company in Seattle. I build systems that help goods move faster across cities and countries. People call me successful. People call me busy. But I often call myself alone. That night, the city was buried in heavy snow. The wind was sharp, cutting through my coat as I walked past the old downtown bus terminal. My driver had canceled, and I decided to walk instead of waiting. I thought fresh air might clear my mind after a long meeting about expansion plans and profit charts. But my mind was never truly clear anymore. Not since my divorce 3 years ago, and not since my daughter moved far away with her mother. The streetlights flickered over the snow. The world felt quiet but heavy, like something was waiting to happen. I pulled my coat tighter and kept walking, thinking only about getting home. Then I heard it. "Sir." "Excuse me, sir." The voice was small, weak, almost lost in the wind. I stopped and turned around slowly. Near the side of the bus terminal, under a broken light, I saw a little boy standing alone. He looked around 8 years old. His face was red from the cold, and his lips were shaking. He wore a thin blue jacket that was not enough for this weather, but what caught my attention was what he was holding. A tiny baby, wrapped in a thin old blanket. The baby was not crying loudly. Only soft, weak sounds came out, like she had no strength left. I quickly walked closer. "Hey, are you okay?" I asked, looking around for any adult. The boy shook his head fast. "Sir, my baby sister is freezing," he said. His voice cracked. "I don't know what to do. She's too cold." My heart dropped instantly. I looked at the baby again. Her small face was pale. Her hands were stiff. Her breathing was very slow. "Where are your parents?" I asked carefully. The boy looked down. His eyes filled with tears, but he tried not to cry. "My name is Ethan," he said, "and my sister is Lily. Mom said she would come back. She told me to wait here, but she didn't come back." He paused, then whispered, "I tried to keep her warm. I really tried. But she is getting quieter now. I think something is wrong." I did not think anymore. I took off my thick winter coat immediately. "Give her to me," I said gently. The boy hesitated for only 1 second. Then he placed the baby into my arms. The moment I touched her, I felt how cold she was. My breath stopped for a second. This was dangerous, very dangerous. I wrapped my coat around both of them quickly, pulling them close to my chest. "You are safe now," I said, even though I was not sure yet. Ethan looked at me with fear in his eyes. "Are you going to take us away?" I shook my head. "No, I'm going to help you, but we need warmth, now." He nodded slowly, still unsure, but he followed me as I started walking fast toward my office building nearby. It had heating, security, and a medical kit. The snow was getting heavier. The wind pushed against us like it wanted to stop us from moving forward. I held the baby tighter as I walked, feeling her small body getting weaker in my arms. "Did your mom say where she was going?" I asked while walking. Ethan wiped his nose with his sleeve. "She said just 5 minutes. She said she needed to talk to someone. But then the snow started, and she didn't come back." "How long have you been here?" "I don't know. Maybe a long time. My legs hurt. My sister stopped crying a while ago, and that scared me more. My chest tightened. We reached the glass doors of my office building. The security guard looked shocked as I rushed in with 2 children wrapped in my coat. "Sir?" he asked. "Call emergency services now," I said quickly, "and get me warm blankets. Now." The guard ran immediately. Inside, the warmth hit us, but the baby did not react much. I sat down on the lobby sofa and carefully placed her on my lap. Ethan stood beside me, shaking. I touched the baby's cheek again. She was barely moving now. My hands started shaking too. "Stay with me, little one," I whispered. "Just stay with me." I pulled out my phone, but before I could call anyone, I noticed something strange on the baby's wrist, a small hospital tag. My breath stopped again. The name on it was not Lily. And right at that moment, the elevator doors opened behind me, and 2 police officers walked in quickly, looking directly at us. "Sir," one of them said sharply, "we need to talk about where you found that child." The moment the police officers stepped into the lobby, the air changed. It felt colder even inside the warm building. My heart was still racing as I held the baby close, trying to keep her stable and warm. The officer who spoke first looked serious. "Sir, we need to know exactly where you found this child." I stood up slowly, still holding the baby in my arms. My hands were shaking a little, but I tried to stay calm. "Outside the bus terminal on 8th Street, I said. "A little boy was holding her. He said they were waiting for their mother." Ethan moved closer to me immediately. He grabbed my sleeve like he was afraid someone would take him away. The second officer stepped forward and looked at Ethan. "What is your name, son?" "Ethan," he said quietly. "Please, don't take my sister." His voice broke on the last word. The officer's expression softened for a moment, but then he spoke again. "We need to understand the situation. This is very serious." I could feel something was wrong. Not just cold weather, not just an abandoned child, something deeper. I looked down at the baby again. Her breathing was still weak, but she was alive. That was the only thing keeping me steady. "We should go to the hospital now," I said quickly. "She needs medical care immediately." The officers nodded, and within minutes, we were all in a police car heading toward the nearest hospital. Ethan sat next to me, still holding my sleeve. He didn't let go even for a second. On the way, I kept looking at the baby's small face. My mind was full of questions. Who leaves children like this? Why was there a hospital tag on her wrist? And why was the name not matching anything the boy had said? At the hospital, everything moved fast. Nurses took the baby from my arms and rushed her into a room. Ethan tried to follow, but one nurse gently stopped him. "She is going to be okay," I told him, kneeling down. "They are helping her now." But Ethan's eyes were full of fear. "What if she doesn't wake up?" I had no answer that could fully comfort him, so I just said, "We are not leaving her." A few minutes later, a doctor came out. He looked at the officers first, then at me. "Her condition is stable now," he said, "but she was very close to severe hypothermia. If she stayed outside much longer, it could have been fatal." I closed my eyes for a moment, feeling relief mixed with fear. But then the doctor added something that changed everything. "She has an identification tag from a hospital, but this does not match her current name records. We are trying to confirm her identity." One of the police officers immediately looked at me. "Sir, we may have a bigger situation here." My stomach tightened. Ethan stepped closer. "Can I see my sister now?" The doctor hesitated. Not yet, but she is safe. Ethan looked at me, and I could see panic rising again. He whispered, Please don't leave us. I placed my hand on his shoulder. I'm not leaving. A detective arrived shortly after. Her name was Detective Morgan. She opened a file and looked at Ethan carefully. Ethan, we are trying to find your mother, she said gently. Can you tell me exactly what happened today again? Ethan told the same story, but his voice was weaker now. He kept looking toward the hospital doors, like he expected his sister to disappear. While he spoke, I stepped aside and listened to the detective talking quietly with the doctor. Possible missing child case, the doctor said. Hospital tag might belong to another infant report from yesterday. My heart dropped. Another officer walked in quickly with papers in his hand. We just got a match, he said. There is a missing infant report from a hospital 2 days ago. The baby's name is Lily Carter. I froze. The detective turned toward me. Sir, the boy said the baby's name was Lily, correct? Yes, I said slowly. But now everything felt wrong, very wrong. If this was the same baby, then how did she end up alone with a boy in the street? Where was their mother, really? And why were they separated like this? Ethan suddenly grabbed my hand tightly. Is something bad happening? I didn't know what to say. I looked at him and forced a calm voice. We are going to find the truth, I promise you. But inside, I felt like I was standing on the edge of something much bigger than a simple rescue. Detective Morgan closed her file slowly. Mr. Cole, we may need you to stay longer. This case is not what it first looked like. Ethan looked at me again, his small voice barely a whisper. Sir, can you still stay with us? I nodded, but at that exact moment, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A new message from an unknown number appeared on the screen. It said only 5 words. You should not have taken her. The message on my phone made my hand go cold. You should not have taken her. For a moment, I could not move. The hospital noise around me faded. The voices of nurses, the footsteps in the hallway, even Ethan's breathing beside me, all felt far away. Ethan looked up at me. Sir, what is wrong? I quickly turned my phone off and forced a calm face. Nothing, just work message, I said, but my voice did not sound normal even to myself. Detective Morgan noticed my reaction. She stepped closer. Mr. Cole, can I see your phone? I hesitated, then handed it over. She read the message and her expression changed instantly. Her eyes sharpened. This is not normal, she said. This looks like someone is tracking the situation. My chest tightened again. We were moved to a private room inside the hospital. Ethan stayed glued to my side the entire time. He did not speak much now. He only watched every adult carefully, like he was trying to understand if we were safe or not. A few minutes later, Detective Morgan returned with a folder. She placed it on the table slowly. Mr. Cole, she said, we have started verifying identities. I nodded, waiting. She opened the folder. The baby, Lily Carter, is confirmed missing from Central City Hospital 2 days ago, but there is something else. She paused. Ethan squeezed my hand harder. The boy, she continued, Ethan, is not listed as her sibling in any official records. The room went silent. I looked at Ethan immediately. What? Ethan's face turned pale. No, that's not true, he said quickly. I am her brother. Mom said I am her brother. His voice broke at the end. Detective Morgan softened her tone. Ethan, we checked birth records and hospital records. There is no match. You are registered as a separate missing child from a different case 6 months ago. My mind struggled to process it. Ethan stepped back, like the floor had disappeared under him. No, that's not right, he whispered. Mom would not lie to me. His eyes filled with tears again, but this time it was different. It was confusion, not just fear. I stood up slowly. Detective, are you saying he was not with the baby? She nodded carefully. It appears he may have been placed with her recently, possibly instructed to stay with her. My stomach dropped. Ethan shook his head hard. I took care of her. I kept her warm. I did everything. I believe you cared for her, Detective Morgan said gently. But we are not sure who placed you there. At that moment, everything I thought I understood started breaking apart. The hospital door opened suddenly. A nurse rushed in. Detective, we found something in the security footage. We all moved quickly to the monitoring room. On the screen, grainy footage showed the bus terminal. I saw it clearly now. A woman appeared briefly in the video. She placed the baby on the bench, looked around nervously, then walked away fast. But what shocked me was what happened next. A man stepped into frame just seconds before her. He handed something to Ethan. It looked like a phone. Ethan in the video nodded slowly. Then he sat down next to the baby. My breath stopped. Detective Morgan paused the video. This is not a family abandonment situation anymore, she said quietly. This may be coordinated. Ethan was watching the screen now. His lips were shaking. I don't remember this, he said. I don't remember him. I turned to him. Ethan, do you remember anything before today? He tried to think, pressing his head with both hands. I remember waiting. I remember being told to stay. I remember it was important. His voice became smaller. I think someone told me to take care of her, but I don't know who. The room felt like it was closing in. Detective Morgan's radio suddenly crackled. Detective, we just received another alert. Possible suspect vehicle spotted near hospital perimeter. Her expression changed immediately. Lock this floor down. My instincts kicked in fast. Ethan, come here, I said. But Ethan did not move. He was staring at the screen again, whispering, I think I know that man. Suddenly, the hospital lights flickered. A distant alarm sounded. Everything moved at once. Nurses rushed into hallways. Security doors started locking automatically. Detective Morgan grabbed her radio. All units, secure exits immediately. I pulled Ethan toward me. We need to stay together, I said firmly. But then Ethan did something I did not expect. He pulled his hand away. I think he is here, Ethan whispered. My heart stopped. Who? I asked. Ethan looked at me, eyes wide and full of fear. The man from the video. At that exact moment, the room door slowly opened, and a shadow appeared in the hallway light. Someone had found us. The door opened slowly, and for a second, nobody moved. The hallway light spilled into the room, stretching a long shadow across the floor. My body went completely still. Ethan grabbed my arm so tightly it hurt. Detective Morgan immediately raised her voice. Stop right there! Police! A man stood in the doorway. He looked calm, too calm, dark coat, wet from snow, eyes fixed directly on Ethan. I'm not here to cause trouble, he said softly, but something in his voice made my stomach twist. It was controlled, careful, like he had practiced every word. Ethan stepped behind me. That's him, he whispered. My heart pounded. Stay behind me, I told Ethan. Detective Morgan moved one step forward. Identify yourself. The man sighed. My name is Richard Hale. I am trying to fix a mistake. The room went silent again. A nurse ran in and quickly locked the inner door. Security alarms continued faintly in the background. Richard looked at Ethan. "You were not supposed to bring her here," he said calmly. Ethan's voice shook. "You told me to take care of her." My head snapped toward Ethan. "Ethan, what is he talking about?" Ethan looked confused, terrified, and torn. "I don't know. I don't remember everything." Richard raised his hands slowly. The child was part of a transport case, medical relocation. It was controlled, safe. Detective Morgan cut him off sharply. "A child was abandoned in freezing weather. That is not relocation, that is neglect." Richard's expression changed slightly. "It was temporary exposure, necessary for transfer." My chest burned with anger. "You left a baby in freezing weather," I said. "That is not necessary. That is dangerous." For the first time, Richard looked directly at me. "You don't understand the system you interfered with." Ethan suddenly spoke, his voice breaking. "I kept her warm. I didn't want her to be alone." Richard softened his tone slightly. "You did well, Ethan. You followed instructions." I felt something inside me snap. "Instructions?" I repeated. "He is a child, not a tool." Ethan looked up at me, confused again, like his entire world was shaking. Detective Morgan stepped closer to Richard. "You are under investigation for child endangerment and possible abduction. You will come with us now." Sirens suddenly got louder outside the hospital. Richard looked toward the window, then back at Ethan. "This is not over," he said quietly. "There are others involved." Before anyone could react, he stepped backward into the hallway. Security rushed in. "Stop him!" someone shouted. But he disappeared into the crowd. The room fell into chaos. Detective Morgan immediately turned to her radio. "All units, suspect fleeing East Wing. Lock down exits." Nurses checked Ethan and the baby again. I stayed frozen for a second, my mind spinning. Then I turned to Ethan. He was shaking badly now. "I did something wrong," he whispered. "Did I do something wrong?" I knelt down quickly. "No," I said firmly. "You protected your sister. You did nothing wrong." His eyes filled with tears again. "But I don't understand what happened." I pulled him closer. "You were used in something you didn't understand. That is not your fault." At that moment, the doctor came in fast. "The baby is stable," he said, "but she needs full protection and monitoring. This situation is now beyond a simple missing child case." Detective Morgan returned, breathing hard. "We lost him, but we have his identity now. We will track everything he is connected to." She looked at me seriously. "Mr. Cole, this is bigger than one child case. This may involve a hidden trafficking network." The words hit like ice. Ethan held onto my sleeve again, tighter than before. "Sir, are we safe now?" I looked at him for a long moment. Then I answered honestly, but gently. "I will make sure you are safe, no matter what it takes." Hours passed. The baby, Lily, was moved to a protected pediatric unit. Ethan refused to leave her side, even when nurses tried to move him to rest. Eventually, I sat beside him on a small hospital couch, and he slowly fell asleep against my arm, exhausted and overwhelmed. I looked at both of them and felt something I had not felt in years. Not responsibility, not fear. Something deeper, a promise forming without words. The next morning, Detective Morgan returned with new information. "We found the woman from the footage," she said. "She is also missing, and we believe she was forced into this." I closed my eyes briefly. Nothing about this was simple. Ethan stirred beside me. "Is my sister okay?" he asked softly. I smiled gently. "Yes, she is safe." He nodded slowly. "And me?" I paused. Then I answered, carefully but clearly. "You are safe too, and you are not alone anymore." Outside the hospital window, the snow was finally stopping. But inside my life, something had completely changed. I had not just found two children in the cold. They had found me. And from that moment, I knew I could never walk away. Sometimes life gives us moments where we are not prepared, where we do not have answers, and where fear is stronger than clarity. But kindness does not wait for perfect conditions. Real kindness is choosing to protect someone even when everything is uncertain. One small act of courage can change not only another person's life, but also your own heart forever. In storytelling English, short emotional sentences are very powerful. They help listeners feel the moment clearly. Instead of long, complicated sentences, use simple emotional repetition like, "I was scared," "I was confused," "I was trying to stay calm." This makes your story easier to understand and more natural. Also, use "I felt" statements often because they help connect emotion directly to the listener. For example, "I felt my heart drop," or "I felt something was wrong." These small patterns are common in real spoken English and help learners sound more natural when speaking or writing stories. Many English learners make the mistake of using long or complex sentences when expressing emotion. For example, they may say, "I was experiencing a very high level of fear inside my heart at that moment." This is unnatural in spoken English. A native speaker would say, "I was very scared," or "I felt scared." Another common mistake is incorrect verb tense mixing in storytelling. For example, "I go to the hospital and I see the doctor came." This should be consistent. "I went to the hospital and I saw the doctor come." Also, learners often forget articles like "a" and "the." For example, "I saw a boy in street." The correct form is, "I saw a boy in the street." In emotional storytelling, clarity is more important than complexity. Simple sentences help the listener feel the story more deeply. Abandon means to leave someone alone without help or protection. Hypothermia means a dangerous condition when the body becomes too cold. Trafficking means illegal control or movement of people, often for harm. Confused means not understanding what is happening. Protect means to keep someone safe from danger. Relief means a feeling when worry or pain becomes less. Evidence means information that helps prove something is true. Investigation means careful searching to find the truth. Trust means believing someone is honest and safe. Fear means a strong feeling of being afraid. Repeat after me slowly. "I was not prepared for this." "I need to keep you safe." "I will not leave you alone." "Something was wrong." "I felt my heart drop." Thank you for listening to this story in English Parlor. What would you have done in this situation? Do you think Ethan did the right thing by trusting a stranger? And how important is kindness in moments of danger? Write your answers in the comments. See you next time.